want to ask some of the beautiful questions of the friends.
Mm.
Thank you so much for the information you gave me about me and my family.
You're welcome.
Yeah, now I want to ask about the purpose of a basic of questions of about the free will. Basically, that's the question we have here. If we really have it, or is it a fate? Is it destiny, predestiny? Do we have control or not?
There is definitely free will, but it's not as simple as free will. It's free agency and co-creation will. So agency and will are separate. Agency is you are the agent of your own reality. And if you choose to wake up or ascend or stay or go, those are your choices. So that's agency, and you have free agency. Will is different than agency. Agency is that thing you call will. That's not what will really is. So separating agency from will. You are your own agent, yes. And in being an agent, you have choice, and you act on your choice. Will is separate from agency. Will is a divine function. Will is never owned by one being or one agent. Will belongs to all agents. And so there is never singular agent, singular will. There's singular agency, and there's only one will. And from the one will you draw on as a being. So, and drawing upon the one will in your reality is when miracles and manifestations happen. Otherwise, you're just an agent without the one will working with you and through you. There's free agency. There's not such a thing as free will. There is only one will. Separation from the one will is what this realm is.
Where we are right now?
That's what the earth is now.
Yeah.
Return to the one will is where we're going.
So this is a bit where we are having the free will, and then later on we have just one will.
We have free agency. We always will have free agency, even when we have one will.
Okay.
It's like the fingers on the hand that belong to the hand are still fingers that can move about and do their own thing, right? So there's still agency will always belong to the individual. Agency, agent of your own choice. But the magnitude of the range and the freedom and the power of choice is severely limited with disconnection from the one will.
Beautiful.
It's very, very futile and very weak. Unfortunately, the one will has been not accessible for the most part by most humans. Jesus, Buddha, famous spiritual magic makers and luminaries have always had one will access. That's why they're famous.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
There's a question here. I'm taking the second part of it. The first part of it was about like the shift that underway and what's the human family is trying to manifest and to come to manifestation. But the second part of it, I wrote, in other words, what is the human race attempting to release? And how do our individual lives help with that?
We're, collectively, the human race is releasing the misperception of separation, not only from each other, but from the one will. What that achieves or accomplishes, heaven on earth.
Wonderful. And how the individual can help with that?
Wake up.
Okay. Wonderful. This is something I didn't really understand, but maybe Laurie understand more when she wrote it down, about how much our consciousness is actually that is microbus?
Microbiome.
Microbus? What do you mean by that question?
I believe the question is about the microbiome of the body, the small microbial creatures that inhabit the body, like in the intestinal system.
Right. So can you share with me the information? Should I read the rest of the question?
I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
What does the question say at the end?
So, okay, or the influence by them. And is there a message about our relationship with the unseen microbial world in that is insignificant for our evolution now or the evolution of all? So something about the relationship between that unseen world of the micro and where it's going, and what is this relationship?
If I understand the question, as I think I do, the answer is that the microbiome and microbial world is mostly not of this dimension, not of this space and time. It's more interdimensional than humanity, and it's like the tip of the iceberg is the microbial world, even to the point where if you look at anything from an electron microscope viewpoint, such as a virus or a bacteria even, these beings are really of huge magnitude from another perspective. They're very faintly, they faintly are observable here as per their size. When it comes to the human microbiome, some of the microbiotic beings that have connected to humanity are a part of the dark forces that have taken the planet into the space of a fallen realm. And some of them are on team goodness, I guess you would call it. You can't categorize them as one or the other. They're just part of the whole storyline. Antibiotics, for instance, that came into existence to create wellness and wipe out negative bacterial influences, just as an example, had a kickback, and that is that it allowed more negative bacteria to grow, because we have never really dealt with the true source of bacteria, which is not simply physical, but other dimensional. You could almost say that negative, harmful bacteria, virulent bacteria, destructive bacteria, is a form of a demonic essence.
Interesting. That's very interesting. And resonant truth. Thank you so much for that information. There's also the question about what is the truth of our human experience beyond, before, beneath, and behind the stories. What fits in the heart of life itself? But I feel like it's two questions. So something about the stories, and tell me what would you like to refer to the truth of our human experience?
I think what the question is asking is why are we human and here? Maybe that's what the heart of the question is.
I like that question.
We are the fallen. We are the fallen angel, Lucifer. We separated and shattered into individual essences and sparks as we descended into the thing we call 3D. And that's a shattering of the vessels. What happened was that it was a impulsive and misdirected choice, partly influenced by the adversary, which is known as Satan, which is not a being but a collective mind. And so humanity is here to return, to reassemble itself, and to return. You know, there's never a loss of individuality. What has been done cannot be undone. The one essence, the one light bearer, Lucifer, light, is never to be the one again in the way it ever was, but the multitude and the myriad and the divine essence of that being called Lucifer, the sparks of that being, most beloved and light that humanity is comprised of, returning to the metaphorical garden in 5D and beyond, will be celebrated as an incredible, successful misadventure.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
Yeah. So there's a nice question here saying that my question is always why? Why does it all have to be such a big mystery? Why do we have always to feel out of the reach of the true understanding? Is it all just a construct of my mind always?
The why is the human mind always trying to make sense of things. The answers are never in the mind. So the answers are in the knowing heart, for lack of a better word, not the heart that you think of that beats in your chest, really, not that, but the portal that the heart is, the interdimensional doorway that it is. And there is no need to suffer in the why or the why me. It's a choice. It's a freedom of choice, an agency choice. Mm-hmm. You can come back home anytime to the heart. That's not a hard thing to do, actually. The existential stuff that I addressed earlier in the Lucifer storyline is independent of the end of suffering. You can suffer with or without knowing the true origin of humanity. So the key is to go out of the mind and into the portal of the heart. The heart doesn't think, so that's the key, right?
Yeah.
The heart knows, but it doesn't think.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about, you mentioned that people need to be awakened. And I know that people understand that, but not always knowing if they are awake or what they can do to get the upgrades and to be really more awakened in the practice of getting more and more awakened and getting to the level that we need to be at. So tell me about that.
Yeah, waking up is misunderstood as something that is for the privileged few, or the ones who are spiritually, waking up because they've been meditating for years, and that's not the truth. Waking up is simply watching what's really happening without the mind's interference, or experiencing reality without the mind's interference. And because the mind is persistent and habituated and often influenced by the negative forces of this world that would keep everyone asleep, the best solutions are ones that create a state of being mindless. So it doesn't have to be meditation. That's really hard for most people. Finding ways to turn off the mind can simply be exercising and walking in the woods, swimming. For some people, it's also magic. Anytime that you're in touch with the wonder of reality, experiencing synchronicity is a little bit like an orgasm. The moment you get the synchronistic moment that goes, oh my God, that just, whoa, that's so cool. The mind is completely out to lunch.
Yeah.
There's no one simple way. The answer is earnest desire. If you really want to wake up, you'll wake up. Just set the desire in motion, the intention, whatever word you prefer.
Yeah.
It's about surrender. The problem with awakening is that it requires surrender. Most people are very fond of control. Control to be safe. Control to be powerful. Control to be in charge and all-knowing. Control to be, those are the reasons. And yet the surrender provides more safety, and the surrender provides more security and more softness and more love than you've ever had before. So being willing to even engage with the idea that safety and surrender are the same thing was probably a good start. Because you can't wake yourself up. It's like very few people have the ability to wake themselves up from a dream. I mean, it's very rare that you can wake yourself up from a nightmare. So in the same metaphor, how can you wake yourself up from the illusion of separation? Well, it's hard. You can't. So you need to invite God in to wake you up. You can call God grace. You can call God love. You can call God your truest self. It doesn't matter. But you have to ask for help. You have to say, wake me up. I'm stuck in this bad dream. Wake me up.
Yeah.
And then God comes and wakes you up. That's the best advice. Ask for help.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, there's the Mary Magdalene energy. There's somebody wanting to know about what this energy, what is this energy I'm drawn to and seeing in other two? What is this Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, so the energy of the Mary Magdalene is the energy of a being who lived on the planet, as are the energies of Buddha and Jesus, no different, or any great saint or enlightened being. When you're tapping into the energy of Mary Magdalene, you're tapping into a known feminine aspect as a form, but beyond the form, she is no longer, never was masculine or feminine. Those drawn to the Mary Magdalene energy are also drawn to what is called the Pleiadian energy system.
Why is that?
Mary Magdalene's energy as a soul is Pleiadian.
Wonderful.
Those who are Pleiadian, ancestrally influenced, soul influenced, are collectively drawn to the teaching, wisdom, and understanding of that being on the planet that we call Mary Magdalene, associated with the Jesus energy.
Yeah. So Jesus Yeshua is also coming from the same place?
No.
Where is coming from?
It's the Syrian star systems.
I see. Okay. Wonderful. So somebody's asking, what can we do to change this system of white supremacy under which we live in?
The systems in place, from capitalism to commerce to oppression racially to distinctions by race, are no longer a part of the world that this world is becoming. And the question is seated in an old world. The issues of oppression of races by whites, particularly Black people, historically and currently, is no different than the oppression of the Jews by the Aryans or certain peoples by the Romans. It will always, and has always happened, and it will always happen. This planet as it exists does not cease to exist exactly. It continues on in its own form, very dark form. The question that's being asked by the soul that's asking it is coming from a place of confusion. The soul that asks this question has lost insight and her way because she has forgotten herself temporarily as a light being and has become overwhelmed by and despairing of the atrocities that humans have committed against each other. And to be clear, and I will ask her to listen to this later, the lessons that humanity has been learning the very hard lessons of the harm that is caused to each other are not entirely the fault of humanity. There are forces that have created the adversary, that have created conditions that make humanity prone to fear, suspicion, anger, retribution, vengeance, evil. And the last thing I want to say about the question is that the model of the victor and the victim is the model that has no place in the new earth. And so the question becomes irrelevant going forward, because the concept of race and the concept of superiority no longer exist.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There's also questions about, for those who are souls who are awakening to the fertility, what is that? Fertility and harm of the capitalistic materialist system, and still need to make a living. How do we best respond?
It is really about the surrender again. The deeper you surrender your fear of anything, scarcity, not surviving, not being in charge, not having control, the more safety, security, and well-being that you will experience. So the answer to making money in a system that's already corrupt is that there will always be a way to be in this world but not of it. So to surrender yourself with a question to the divine aspect of all creation, how can you use me? How can I serve? The divine will never ask you to be used and to serve in a way that causes you peril or to perish. So the question is simply about surrender, not about working, money, and capitalism. So many creative ways the divine can take care of you.
That's a wonderful answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much again for all the help and information. I want to ask the subconscious to return to where it belongs. 9, 10, wide awake, feeling wonderful all over.
Oh my God. Oh my God, did you say it was 3:30? That's impossible.
3:27, yes.
It seems like it was like an hour.
Yes, it was a long, beautiful, long session, incredible session.
Oh my God, I'm hungry. I just noticed.
There's a lot of energies, right?
I'm going to make a bowl of pasta. Oh my God.
Wow.
That was great.
So wonderful. Thank you so much. Have fun.
Thank you. Oh my God, that was intense. That beginning with that life is so intense. What the heck, eh?
Yeah, tell me, what do you remember?
I remember the harbor and trying to save people and get them on the ships.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I've had memories of that place before, but not that time. In other words, not that event.
Yeah.
I've had dreams about it. The other thing was, it's no wonder I love Puerto Vallarta. I love that town. I go there a lot. I love it there. I almost wanted to move there because it reminds me of the happy life I had there when I died, and my 2 daughters were there.
Yeah. Grandchildren
and in a place where we all landed safely. So it has such a fond memory for me.
Yeah.
So that makes so much sense now.
Yeah. There was also a little clearing from an old life in France.
And then, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was just I made a deal with the devil.
Done with that.
And I was a priest of all things. Give me a break, right? Nothing like a priest in league with the devil.
Sounds
and then the other
sounds
thing
like the religion of our days.
No kidding. The other part that's really, really cool is how much energy moved through my body as well during the couple of the things, moving that cord out, oh, the energy in the solar plexus is so amazing. Like just like a cool stream of beautiful water. Very clearing, very fresh.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I've had so many, I don't know, over the years, shamanic things. I'm a trained shaman. That's why I trance really well. I've done shamanic journey work for years. And I've done so many clearings of cords and entities and all of that. And I never saw that one there. And no one else around me did either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally hiding out.
Yeah, that's a deep one.
Yeah.
It was internal. It wasn't even connected to someone else. It was internal into your past life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cord within yourself.
Yes, exactly. I carried it over throughout lifetimes, I guess.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Wow.
So how does it work in terms of, do I get a copy of the recording from you?
Of course. I'm
Okay.
gonna send it right away. I'm also gonna upload it to YouTube. You can show with whatever you want, and you can also tell me the times that you want.
Okay.
And you can edit things out or keep it all in or make it as parts. So take time, and when you listen to it, if there's something that you're not want to share, just put the times and I'll take it out.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible session to share. So I hope
I'm okay sharing things with the world.
Yeah.
Totally, absolutely. I'm so okay. I'm a messenger too.
Yes.
So I'm okay with that for sure.
Yeah. Are you happy about the information about your twin flame?
Yes, absolutely.
Or no twin flame? It's not the right term.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
From my home planet or home
your
system.
home planet boy.
Yeah, that's. I'm very excited by that. I'm sure I've never experienced that. Every other man in my life has been like, not that anyway. Not from there.
It wasn't galactic.
No, or if it was galactic, it was from another place altogether.
Yeah.
No, I was with a guy for 2 years who a shit ton of Pleiadian stuff going on. He was into the Pleiades. He liked the Pleiades. He taught, I'm pretty sure he had Pleiades stuff or something.
Yeah.
But never just that one. Yeah, no. A lot of normal guys. A lot of everyday
guys.
guys.
About a special Syrian being.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to go off to Montreal. I had planned to move to Montreal already, and I didn't. I was going to move this fall. So, but I got guidance. It wasn't time. So.
Yeah. So fun. And making the character in the book, deleting chapter 3, how that feels.
The which one?
I think there's a deleting chapter 3.
Yes.
And developing the character of
I started chapter 3. I'm halfway through, and I got stuck, and I couldn't write it anymore.
Yeah.
That's so because I have to start over with a new character. The guy has to come into the storyline now.
Yeah.
Which I knew there was going to be a guy at some point, but I didn't realize so much up front.
Yeah.
And now I understand from what we talked about to put him as a main character. 2 points of view: his point of view and the female point of view.
Yeah. And then you can develop his character and your masculine side.
Exactly. And then it was really cool because at what point were we in the session where I had the stabbing pain in the middle of my back? What happened with that? I can hardly remember the session now.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's like a dream sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
It's so important to listen because then the integration and more healing just being anchored in. So just listen to it many times, even make some art with it by listening.
Yeah, I have to because it's like I only remember bits and pieces. When my back had a stabbing pain in it, we cleared it. I don't remember why the pain was there anymore. Remember? I'll listen to it again.
Yeah, I think it was something about this past life taking the weight. It was like basically taking some the weight of saving everyone. Mm-hmm. I think that was connected to that. They did some more work after that about letting go of the baggage of the responsibility.
That's right. I think that's what it was. But it was just such an acute, literally in the middle of my back. I'm like, ow. I don't even have any problems with my middle of my back. That's my good part of my back,
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how it's pop up. It shows up here. This is where it is.
Ouch.
Yeah. That
was great. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm looking for